Everybody, Julie Evans, Executive Director with Roots and Roads. So great to see you all. And I have never met Jamal before, but I loved his picture on the info session because just in the 15 minutes that we've been on prepping, he is such a person of joy. So I really am so grateful for you to be with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Jen, do you mind forwarding to the next slide? Thanks. So again, I know we know most of you, but I do see some new names and faces. So I'll just say very quickly about the foundation. We're celebrating our 25th year. We continue to do what we've done in those 25 years, which is to financially support low-income hospice patients for basic needs such as housing, utilities, final arrangements, things of that nature that are not covered by health insurance. We also have health literacy is very important to us, and we have an online resource called the Crosswalk, where we tried to pull together information about end of life all in one place. So at those precious moments where we're journeying with those we love, we're not searching all over the internet trying to find the pertinent info. So if you've never visited our website, we would love for you to do so, and that's rootsandroads.org. And then the final thing we do is exactly what we're here together for tonight, which is education around end of life issues, including grief and cultural considerations. And we've really we've had some great speakers already since January. I'm so excited that Jamal is with us and so glad you all are with us. Next slide, please, Jen. And I just want to give a shout out because the folks you see, Jesse, Colleen, Elsa, Martha, B, Ed, Linda, thank you so much for your specific support of making this series free and open to everybody, no matter where they are in the world. We're so grateful for you. So thanks. And now I will turn it over to David Fife.
Thanks so much, Julie. I think we can go on to our series sponsors. These are organizations who we have worked with for years, oftentimes, and collaborated with. We're very grateful for their ongoing support. Their support, not only in our education efforts, but in our efforts to be able to support hospice patients throughout Southeastern Arizona. We would not be able to realize our mission and be able to do the work we do without their partnership. So we're so grateful to Sunset Hospice, Hospice of the Valley, Casa de la Luz Hospice, and our most recent sponsor, Pima Council on Aging. So thank you all for your ongoing support, and we look forward to finding amazing ways of collaborating in the future. And now we're going to turn our attention to tonight. We're grateful to Imam Jamal Rahman for joining us this evening. Jamal is the co-founder of Muslim Sufi Imam at the Interfaith Community Sanctuary in Seattle, and also is an adjunct faculty at Seattle University. I first met Jamal, I was trying to remember exactly. I think it was somewhere 10, 15 years ago when he visited Tucson and spoke at a local gathering. He has blessed the Tucson community time and again with his presence, his joy, insights and wisdom, vulnerability, and of course, his laughter. We need to hear Jamal's voice now more than ever. In a time when our political and religious leaders too often are telling us that in order to be safe, we must fear others or we must exclude those who we deem to be different. And that we have to construct barriers and walls to keep folks out. Jamal shares a message of deep humility, of honoring the mystery in life and recognizing the sacred in all living beings. I encourage each of us to visit his website that is there at the bottom of the bio. Here you'll find more information about Jamal's ministry, his writings and teachings. And if we could go to the next slide. For those of us who are tonight who are in the Tucson area, next month, Jamal will offer an in-person event through Tachiria Interfaith Spirituality Center called Cultivating Peace and Hope in Difficult Times. And oh, do we need that cultivation right now? It'll be on Saturday, April 11th at St. Philip's in the Hills. You can go on to the tachiria.org website to register. And Jamal, it's wonderful to have you with us, and we'll turn things over to you now.
Great. Thank you so much. Very delighted and very grateful for that very gracious introduction. So maybe I can start by saying I'm a Muslim. Well, first of all, delighted to be among these, I always say, among these rectangles of love. You know, I'm borrowing from a wonderful quote from Rumi, who did very little writing, who would mostly just utter by going into trance. One of his wonderful utterances is, please come out of the circle of time and enter the circle of love. So for me, that's a very beautiful quote. Maybe I can start by saying, you know, I'm a Muslim, but I'm also interfaith. You know, interfaith is not about conversion. It's about completion, becoming a more complete, developed human being. I'm also a Sufi, and a lot of misunderstanding about the word Sufi. Sufism is not a denomination. It is simply within the Islamic faith to live the core values, the core teachings, the aspirations of that particular religion. Just to give you an example, Sufis don't like to get too much enmeshed in theological disputes. So that wonderful 13th century sage Rumi says, you know, when you get too involved in these debates, discussions, fight over theological issues, he says, you're like a bird that ties a snare around its leg and then unties it, and then again makes the snare, the knot, even more complicated and unties it, and makes it even more complicated and unties it to show off its strange skill, forgetting the point is to escape, to experience freedom, to experience joy, or what Christians would say, to be saved. In Hinduism, Buddhism, to achieve moksha, to become liberated. So that's the meaning of a Sufi. So my friends, I want to tell you, I'll keep looking on the right side. I have some notes here that I hope will keep me in line and not make me go over. So the first point I wanted to make about the topic is we are really immersed in mystery. Life, death, purpose of life. You know, there's a wonderful fictional teacher in Islam, fictional, 13th century, named the Mullah. And through the Mullah, many stories, many insights are conveyed. So there's a wonderful story of the Mullah. It's a story of our lives. He's in the tavern, drinking, intoxicated. He steps out of the tavern, walking the streets aimlessly. A policeman accosts him and says, "Sir, who are you? Where did you come from? Where are you going?" The Mullah says, "Sir, if I knew the answer to all those questions, I would be home already." So to these existential questions, who am I? What am I doing here? Where am I going? This concept of life, of death. These are very difficult, bewildering issues. We are steeped, immersed in mystery, which is why I love the words of that 13th century sage Rumi, who says, "Sell your cleverness and buy bewilderment." So there's several insights I would like to just mention to you. One is the one I just mentioned, sell your cleverness and buy bewilderment. Another one from the Sufi tradition is about these existential matters, issues. They say, move from a knowledge of the tongue to a knowledge of the heart. Move from a knowledge of the tongue to a knowledge of the heart. There's one more I chose. There's a verse from the Quran that says, every soul will taste death. Every soul will taste death. Now, Rumi, as I said, didn't write very much. He would just go into a trance. When he read this verse from the Quran, every soul will taste death, he said, he uttered, every soul will taste death, but very few will taste life. Every soul will taste death, but very few will taste life. So let me tell you what really brought me to, made me move from a knowledge of the tongue to knowledge of the heart, and made me more aware of the need to taste life, was my own tragic situation when my parents passed away in 1991. My mother unexpectedly fell ill, and shockingly, in 7 days, she died. My father, who was very bonded with his wife, my mother, he was so shocked by it. In 20 days, he died of a heart attack. Really, he died of untold grief, really, immeasurable grief. So that really, you might say, woke me up. And I moved partially from a knowledge of the tongue to a knowledge of the heart. So now the first lesson or learning, I would say, is there is suffering, there is sorrow, and all the traditions say this is inevitable. Every religion says that. Ours is a world of opposites. High is defined by low, as they say in Taoism. Long by short. There'll be joys and there will be sorrows. In Buddhism, noble truth number 1, can I accept the fact there is suffering? So when there's suffering, there's a lot of pain, a lot of tears. And the question becomes, how do you deal with this suffering, which is inevitable in one's life? The Quran says, do it little by little. Don't avoid it. So in the Islamic tradition, when someone dies, you have at least 3 days of mourning. But culturally, so I'm from South Asia, which is where the majority of Muslims live. India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka. Over 40% of Muslims live there. When someone dies, they say, please go into grieving for 40 days and 40 nights. And there's no need to attend to the material comforts of life. People will bring you food for those 40 days. You simply remain in a state of embracing your sadness. And yes, tears will come. And the Quran says, laughter and tears come from God. When Rumi read this verse, again, Rumi bursts into a trance and he says, yes, in times of suffering, weep like the water wheel. Weep like the water wheel, so that herbs may grow in the courtyard of your soul. Weep like the water wheel, so that this will water the herbs in your courtyard. In another verse, he says, yes, these tears that you shed, they water those invisible rose gardens in those mysterious realms. So just be with that. There will be tears. It is sacred. And now the Islamic mystic, they say, this is a wonderful time to do some practice where you're able to go deep into your suffering, and then you're able to reframe it, build your spiritual muscles, as it were. You know, in many traditions, certainly in Buddhism and Hinduism, Christianity, all the traditions, there is this insight that the way you respond, or like Desmond Tutu, Dalai Lama like to say, reframe your suffering, the way you are able to embrace, heal, reframe your suffering, this sculpts your being and sculpts the destiny of your life. I don't know how many of you have read that book, Book of Joy, by Desmond Tutu, Dalai Lama. And that's one of the main insights from that book. The way you're able to respond to your suffering. Take your time in going through your suffering, but the way you respond to it is what sculpts your character, your being, and sculpts the destiny of your life. The Quran says, do it little by little. Some philosophers say, when you face this suffering, little by little, it's as if you're going through a deep, dark forest. Half the time you're going inside, but the other half you're coming out of it. So just be with that. Ask yourself, in my moments of suffering, tears, sadness, am I able to embrace it and allow it to sculpt my being and sculpt the destiny of my life? Just be with that. So for me, I was taught from a young age that there's practice called sacred holding in times of suffering, pain, sadness. Human beings feel the pain, the suffering, because they have a body, a human body. Our pain, our suffering, including our anger, our jealousy, whatever you call it, you feel a sensation in a part of your body. You see, angels, they don't have a body. That's why the sages say they're always smiling, filled with love. But we human beings have a body. When I'm angry or sad or frustrated, how do I know I'm sad? I feel a sensation in a part of my body. Is it here? So the technique says you have a body, you're sad. Where in your body are you experiencing that more? Above the navel, below your navel, on the right side, left side, maybe in the heart. Then they say, just be with that. Just be with that. No need to fix it. No need to analyze it, but a great need just to be present with it. For a few minutes, longer time, if it moves, move with it. And then after that, you can ask it a few questions, maybe just one question as you're with it. Do you have a message for me? It's not that I'm expecting an answer, but with great respect and love, I'm saying, do you have a message for me? And the next question is, how may I love you? And just be with that. And then when you finish, you focus on that physical holding, that location, and breathe through it. So I'm hoping by the end, when I finish my talk, we'll do that. We'll experience that together. That's called sacred holding. Okay, my next point is, when I was in deep sadness, suffering, a lot of tears, what really gave me solace was a community. But what is called authentic community. What Rumi calls a circle of love. Who are able to just to be with me, console me, love me, support me. So the Quran says, what is an authentic community? There are three gateways. The one is between me and that member of my community or circle, close circle, intimate circle. Is there kinship of spirit? Is there love? Number two is there trust? So we can be vulnerable. because without vulnerability, there's no real community. And the third one in all religions is, you might call it the gateway of truth. This is someone who lives the truth, speaks the truth. You know, the Buddha was asked, Lord Buddha, what is real community? And his famous utterance was, find friends who love the truth. So do you have that circle that passes the gateways of love, trust, and truth? Very beautiful to create that in one's life. Especially in times of suffering, we need that. Something else I found when I was very sad, the ones who were able to really give me consolation, give me healing, were those who were just present with me. And many years later, I remember I was with a friend who was suffering, and she was in hospice, and I was, reading Rumi poetries. I was feeling a little awkward, saying some wise things. And one day she just took my hand before she died. A few days later, she said, Jamal, thank you so much for the Rumi poetry, all those insights, what the different religions says. But you know what is most healing for me? If you are just present with me. I said, please tell me more. She said, Jamal, if you feel awkward, be awkward. Your awkwardness is very healing for me. If you cannot say, you want to be silent, be silent. Your silence is healing for me. If you feel like crying, cry. Your crying is healing for me. And that's when I really understood what it is to be present. So when I go and meet people in hospice who are suffering, or meeting those relatives of someone, loved one who has died, I don't prepare anything. I just am willing to be present. And whatever comes up authentically, naturally, I know from my experience with my friend who passed away, that is most healing. So ask yourself, do I know what it means to be present? I study Buddhism quite a lot. There's a wonderful Zen saying about being present. When sitting, sit. When sitting, sit. When walking, walk. Above all, don't wobble. Just be present. Okay, just be with it. Ask yourself, am I present in my life? In this case, particularly with those who are suffering, grieving. Okay, my friends, the next point I wanted to make was moving from a knowledge of the tongue to knowledge of the heart about faith, having faith in something greater than human personality. See, when my parents passed away, one after the other in the space of 20 days, I thought I had faith in God, but I really felt it at a heart level. This wonderful poem came to my mind, which I had read many times, from Hafez, who's a 14th century Persian poet, who says, something missing in my heart tonight, something missing in my heart tonight has made my eyes so soft, my voice so tender, my need for God absolutely clear. Something missing in my heart tonight has made my eyes so soft, my voice so tender, my need for God absolutely clear. So when my parents passed away, although I thought I have some faith in something higher than human personality, it really sang to me about the need to have faith in something higher than human personality. So I want to ask myself, ask you, what has deepened your faith? You know, in the Quran, it says there are 3 stages of faith. The first stage is hearsay. Oh, there is a God, believe in God, or something higher than human personality. That's just hearsay. The second stage, the Quran says, is personal exploration. Look around you, explore to build that faith. And the third stage of faith is something arises from within. That is called an inner knowing. When Rumi read these verses in the Quran, he gave a metaphor. He says, it's like the flame of a candle. Let's say the flame of the candle is having that faith in God, and there's a moth. The first stage is the moth hears about the flame of the candle, but that's just hearsay. Then the moth begins to explore, and sees the flame. That deepens the faith. Then the moth comes closer to the flame and feels the heat of the flame, what Hafez calls feeling the glow of presence, feeling the glow of presence, and that deepens the faith. So having authentic faith goes through different stages. But when my parents died, I really felt the need for the faith. Previously, I was asking myself, what has built my faith in God? In fact, there's a wonderful Christian writer who wrote this about this insight about nature. She says, "Oh, sister almond tree, tell me about God." And the almond tree blossomed. "Oh, sister almond tree, tell me about God." And the almond tree blossomed. So my question to myself and to you is, do you have faith in something higher than human personality? Because we shall need that in times of difficulties, in times of suffering. As I'm speaking, I'm reminded of a story many years ago. I was teaching a class in Seattle, and I was talking about God. God is all compassionate, all powerful, very, have faith in God. And she, after the class was over, she took my hand, and I mean it, literally took my hand, crossed the street, because across the street was Children's Hospital. And she seemed pretty upset. I didn't understand what was going on. I knew that she was a nurse in Children's Hospital. She took me there and took me to this room and that room and said, "Look at this child, cancer. This child will die in a few weeks' time. This child, little kid, 2 years old, 5 years old. Where is God? You talk about God, God, God. There is no God. If God was there, why would God make all these people suffer?" So I very wisely kept very quiet, said nothing at all. And I always wondered to myself, if God is so compassionate, so loving, all powerful, why do some people suffer so much? These little children. That wonderful book by the rabbi, "Why do bad things happen to good people?" There is no answer. But I remember a beautiful story in Islamic mythology, which gave me a lot of comfort and a lot of insight. The story is that, in the Quran, there's a verse that says, before God sent all of humanity down to earth, he gathered all of humanity and told them, "Am I not your sustainer?" And we said, "Yes, yes, yes." And then God explained, "I'm sending all of humanity, all of you, down to earth. But know that it's a place of opposites. There is joys, there is sorrows, there is suffering." Then he took them, before sending them down to earth, to a place where there was a huge cosmic tree. And the branches of tree were packages of different sizes. Some are small, some are medium, some are large. And God said, these are packages of suffering. Some are small, some are medium, some are large. You have a choice. You can take any of those packages you want. The nobler ones among us, chose the larger packages so others would suffer less. And the sages say, when you meet somebody who's suffering, terribly and inexplicably, don't try to question why, karma, this, that. Just be grateful. This person chose a larger package, and be of service to this person. I get emails from people, sometimes all over the world, in response to this insight. One I got a few years ago, which really touched me, saying, my wife has terminal cancer. She's a very good woman, like an angel on earth. He says, and he wrote, you might think I'm exaggerating, but believe me, she's an incredible human being. And she has terminal cancer. She's young. I am so angry. I was so upset. No faith in God. But after I heard that insight about the packages, about she being such a noble person, my heart melted. And for the first time, I've lost my anger. I'm continuing to be of service the same way, but I've lost my anger. And thank you for that insight. So just be with that. Why is there so much suffering? I don't know. Okay, the next thing that came to me that resonated was when my parents passed away, time is precious. Time is precious. And I always remember that mullah story. It's, that about the insight is later than you think. And what is the story? This fictional mullah goes to London and visits a London museum. And there is this very learned guide, very famous professor, who says, this is 1,000 years old. The mullah raises his hand, excuse me, is 1,004 years old. The guide is a little bit annoyed, doesn't say anything. Goes on to the next item. This is about 10,000 years old. Excuse me, says the mullah. It's 10,004 years old. The guide is quite annoyed by this time. Happens a third time. This is 50,000 years old. Excuse me, it's 50,004 years old. Now the guide is very annoyed. He says, sir, you wear a turban, you have a beard. It tells me you're from the mysterious East, exotic East. How can you be so laser precise about those dates? Mullah said, sir, it's simple. I was here 4 years ago. At that time, you mentioned those dates. The whole point here is, it's later than you think. So, Brother Jamal, don't waste time. If you need to tell somebody, I love you, say it now. The Sufis, another verse, they say, the time is now, the place is here. Start the process. If you need to forgive someone, forgive. If you need to ask for forgiveness, do it now. I'm just thinking why my parents made me learn all these verses from the Qur'an and Rumi, the 13th century sage Rumi. Of course, now I have heart knowledge about it. The Qur'an says, please be mindful of time. Be mindful of time. Truly, by token of time, humankind is in loss. Be mindful of time before death overtakes you. And then Rumi, when he focuses on these verses of the Quran, he bursts into many utterances. And I know them by heart because I've read it. My parents gave it to me. My teachers gave it to me. I don't know how many times. Travelers, it is late. Life's sun is going to set. In the brief moments you have time, please spare no efforts of your wings. Death is hoarse from shouting. From so many astounding blows, death's drum skin has split. But you enmeshed yourself in trivialities, and only now do you apprehend the mystery of death. Childhood, youth, maturity, and now old age. Master, you asked me to remind you. Time to go. Every guest agrees to stay 3 days, no more. Time to go. So I remember those verses, but then when my parents died, I remember them at a heart level. Time is precious. I also remember, I'm just remembering, there's a wonderful saying of the Prophet Muhammad that's called Hadith. The Prophet Muhammad said, you know, when you arrived here from the invisible world, everybody around you was laughing and smiling, but you were crying and weeping. Live such a life. Live such a life that when you depart, everybody around you is crying and weeping, but you are laughing and smiling. Just be with that for a few moments. Okay. Just a few seconds, just, Rumi has this wonderful utterance. From what I have said, ask yourself, what has splashed in my heart? And allow that to perfume your heart. Any insight? Okay, the next section I'm going to talk about, I'm looking at the time also. What I've learned from the experience of others who have been grieving in my ministry, Muslims and non-Muslims. I have a lot of non-Muslims who come and ask me, my mother died, a father died, a loved one died. What does Islam say about the afterlife? I'm so worried, or I'm so concerned about my mother. What is the afterlife? Because none of us know. But what does the Quran say? Quran says, well, when you die, your soul goes into the tender embrace of God and remains there in a state of quietness, what is called quietude, just in quietness. That's called barzakh in the Quran, and stays there till end times. And after that, there is the day of judgment, heaven and hell. So I get a lot of questions about, oh my God, about the day of judgment. Tell me more about the day of judgment. Well, the Quran says, when the end times come, you'll appear in the presence of God and the angels, and your body will testify. My hands did this. My eyes saw this. For sake of accountability. If jokingly, there's a verse in the Quran in Rumi who says, my feet went into places I should not have gone to. And my genitals will say, me too. So accountability, your body will testify. And then there'll be judgment, heaven or hell. But the Islamic mystics say, this is not the real meaning of the Quran about day of judgment. The day of judgment is to make you aware about the levels of heaven you'll be placed on. See, the Quran says, when a person dies, they don't reincarnate back on earth like Hindus and Buddhists say. But the human being reincarnates in the different levels of heaven, getting closer and closer and closer and closer to God. 7 levels of heaven. In Islam, it's the levels of heaven. You get closer and closer to God. So you reincarnate and get closer to God. How do we know this? Because the Quran says, when you die, after heaven and hell and judgment, you will assume forms you have no idea about. You will assume forms you have no idea. You cannot even imagine. And the Quran says Allah is the Lord of ascent, of rising. From that, the mystics, the sages in Islam have said, so when you die, you assume forms you have no idea about. And there's a verse in the Quran that says, you rise higher than the angels. Get closer to God. There's reincarnation, getting closer to God. So coming back to Day of Judgment, the sages say it's just about finding out in which level of heaven to put you on as you get closer to God, as you become aware of where you went astray or where you did good. So the sages said, let me tell you something. Do you really think God will judge you? Ask you? This is God you're talking about. He or she is all aware, knows every minute step you have taken. The Quran says Allah knows the movement of every leaf. Why does he have to ask you what you did not do? It's not for the sake of God giving you punishment for heaven or hell. It's for you to become aware yourself. So here was the sages say. They say, when you go there, tell God, oh God, you know everything I did. Why are you asking me what I did not do? I tell you what, God, plead and advocate on my behalf with yourself. Please do what is worthy of you, not what is worthy of me. Anyway, I tell that to some friends, it probably brings some consolation. Then what about heaven and hell? In the Quran, heaven is a place of, wonderful, beautiful mansions, luxurious gardens, greenery, beautiful playmates. But hell is a place of scorching fire, a terrible wind that sears your body, gives you so much of torture. The sages say that hell is actually a place of purification. This is what the mystics say, the sages say. It's a place of the fires of purifying you to make you more complete as a human being. There's a wonderful saying of the story of the Prophet Muhammad. He was once discussing with his companions very esoteric secrets about hell. And just at that time, they noticed in the distance there was a mother who was desperately looking for her lost child. The child was lost. And she was so frantic, running around, where is my child? And when she found the child, as they were approaching her to help her, she found the child and she held the child with such exquisite relief, tender embrace, and with such deep love that those companions, they burst into tears, seeing this incredible embrace of the mother for her lost child. Then the Prophet turned to the companions and said, do you think this mother who loves her child so much would ever throw her child into the fires of hell? They said, no, no, no. And the Prophet said, that is exactly what I'm telling you. There is no fires in hell. And know that God loves you more than this mother loves that child. God would never throw you in the fires. So that's one story that Muslims meditate on. Another one is by that wonderful female sage whose name is Rabia. You can Google her, Rabia, a most wondrous, beloved female sage. And she would always tell people, what is this worrying about heaven and hell? Is this a way to live? That you want to do good because you want to enter heaven? Or you're scared of doing terrible things because you're fear of the fires of hell? This is not a way to live. And she would be seen running through the streets of Basra. She came from Basra, which is a city in Iraq, with a torch of fire and a pail of water. And they would say, where are you going with this torch of fire and pail of water? She would say, with this torch of fire, I'm going to burn those sensual pleasures of heaven. And with this pail of water, I'm going to quench the fires of hell. Is this a way to live, she says? For lust for heaven and dread of hell? So she burst into poetry. Oh God, if I worship you for fear of hell, burn me in hell. If I worship you for those pleasures of heaven, bar me from its gates. But if I worship you for your sake, if I worship you for your sake, please begrudge me not your everlasting beauty. Please begrudge me not your everlasting beauty. Just be with that about heaven and hell. Okay, my friends, now I want to talk about some friends who come to me and say, really, I've lost my loved one, but I want to connect with my loved one. Or I want to have some closure. What does Islam say about connecting with someone who has gone over to the other side? So the Islamic scholars, they say, if you read the Qur'an, this is like in Judaism, the Torah, they say when you sleep, the Quran says when you sleep, your soul flies off into those invisible realms and goes into the tender embrace of God. And when you awake, that soul is returned to you for a term appointed. So when you sleep, your soul goes in the tender embrace of God and is returned to you for a term appointed. So they say when you want to connect with someone who has passed away, a loved one, before going to sleep, purify yourself and make an intention. I want to connect with, let's say, my mother or my father or a loved one, my husband or my wife or my child. But purify yourself, whatever that means to you. Go into meditation. For Muslims, read the Quran, ask forgiveness from God, and make an intention. Let's say I want to meet my mother or father. Go to sleep, and very possibly you'll meet your mother or father who is in the tender embrace of God. I've done this a number of times when I've had problems, and believe me, a couple of times when I was in deep trouble, I received incredible, meticulous instruction. Sometimes no instruction, but just assurance it'll be okay. And miraculously, it really became okay. So I believe in this one way of connecting with your loved one. Prophet Muhammad said, you can always connect with your loved one when you're in a state of purity and you make an intention. But this is particularly deepened if you're able to go to the grave site, to the physical grave site of your loved one. And if you cannot do that because they're far away, you don't live there, you go into meditation and imagine you're going to the grave site and make the intention of connecting with your loved one. So Prophet Muhammad was seen a number of times. He would go to the grave site of someone who was martyred, who died in battle, or, died of a disease, was one of his close companions. And he would speak. And sometimes people around him would say, are you speaking to the one who has passed away? He said, yes, believe me, they can hear you far better than you can hear me. And he would bring back messages. So I've tried this, going to my mother's, father's gravesite and connecting with them. Well, what I wanted to tell you is, in my ministry, I've received a lot of people who say, I want closure with a loved one. So there's a wonderful practice in Islamic spirituality called expression resolution, where you go into a deep meditation, you go into a sacred sanctuary, and you summon that person, and the person's soul is also there, and you express whatever is in your heart, because souls love the truth. You express whatever is in your heart, any anger, any sadness, anything which needs to be said. Then you express what is your prayer. And the resolution part, this was expression, resolution part was doing a ritual, maybe connecting heart to heart. It may be a beautiful cord of light between me and that person. This is called expression resolution. And this I've done many, many times. Okay, I ask you now, in what ways, if you want to ever, how do you connect with a loved one? Okay, as I bring it to a close, slowly, there's one more wonderful group of friends who'll say, Brother Jamal, is there some way I can do something beautiful, a beautiful righteous deed, a good deed that can help my loved one get the merits of it, feel the benefits of it? There's a wonderful story in the Qur'an that says this person who had died and gone over to the other side is begging God to come back to planet Earth so that person can do some wonderful, what is called righteous deeds. Because in the Quran, the two words, righteous deeds, D-E-E-D-S, doing wonderful service, is mentioned many times. There are many verses. So one of the verses says that, good deeds, the fruits of which last forever, are best in the sight of your sustainer. There's another beautiful verse, couple of verses that says, it doesn't matter what your religion is. It doesn't matter what your culture is, what your race is, what your gender is. What takes you to heaven is not your religion, not your culture, not your race, not your gender. It's having faith in God, but mostly doing righteous deeds, righteous deeds. This is a wonderful story where I think it's a Rumi story that says, Brother Jamal, when you die, it's an insight. When you die, you'll have to leave your riches and titles at your palace. You have wonderful friends and family, but they can accompany you only up to the gravesite. What takes you beyond the gravesite into those mysterious realms is a record of your good deeds. Good deeds. So Islamic mystics say, you want your loved one to gain merit, please pray for them, but mostly do some righteous deeds, some good deeds in their name. So for example, every Friday, I aspire to do something beautiful. It could be helping someone, giving money to the homeless, always in the name of my parents. I and my siblings have gotten together and we've established a school for women in our village in the name of my parents. My sister is a medical doctor. We've established a medical clinic for the poor, free, almost free, in the name of my parents. And this gives merit to them. But now the Quran says, let me tell you what it means, what a righteous deed means, what it means to be giving to others. There's several gateways. One is, number one, a good deed or giving. Number one is give freely of what you love. It could be your time, your resources. Number two, give to those who ask, don't ask, cannot ask. Number three, if possible, give quietly, only if possible. Number four, most important in every religion, give without attachment to the prestige or prize it brings you. For the sake of God, in the name of your loved one. So ask yourself, what is it I can be doing, which can be classified as a righteous deed, something very beautiful in the name of a loved one? And that the Quran says will help them. The Prophet Muhammad will help them in their onward mysterious journey. You know, Prophet Muhammad said something else about righteous deeds. He said, do good deeds according to your capacity. God never tires of giving rewards unless you tire of doing good deeds. The good deeds most loved by God, the good deeds most loved by God are the ones that are done regularly, no matter how small they are. What are some good deeds I could be doing, you could be doing regularly, no matter how small they are? Just be with that for a few moments. Okay, the last thing I want to say before I do a short meditation is, maybe I'll call it laughter. You know, in my ministry, I have I have officiated and also gone to many funerals and to many memorials. Is part of my work. And almost always after the memorial, we sat together with the one who has lost a loved one, and we talk about, you know, the wonderful things that person, who that wonderful person who he was, you know, what he or she did, and we revive some memories. And then the conversation goes deeper, more extensive. Then it turns into realizing that each one of us will die. Each one of us will die. And that's when the fun starts. We all start laughing, you know, and each one makes a joke about the fact that it's so mysterious. Here we are. We have no idea who we are, what we're doing here, you know, where we're going after we die. And someone will inevitably, because we've done this so many times, will recite a Rumi poetry. Brother Jamal, here you are, so scared you will go into non-existence. Here you are, you're so scared you'll go into non-existence. But if the truth be known, non-existence is trembling in fear, it might be given human shape. And we all repeat that. Oh, here you are, so scared you'll be going into non-existence. But if the truth be known, non-existence is trembling in fear, it might be given human shape. And we laugh and laugh and laugh. Let me give you just one more, because time is running out. This is by Ramana Maharshi, who says, Brother Jamal, when you go over to the other side and you look back at your life, you will, at all your dramas and melodramas, when you go over to the other side and look back at your life, at all your dramas and melodramas, you will laugh and laugh and laugh your head off. Then they say, why do you have to wait till you die? Why don't you laugh right now at your dramas and melodramas? Why wait? And again, lots of laughter. So laughter is very beautiful at all times, and certainly after we have healed our suffering. You know, that wonderful poet Hafez says, what is laughter? Laughter is the sound of a soul waking up. God wants to see more laughter, more playfulness in your eyes. God wants to see more laughter, more playfulness in your eyes, for that is your greatest witness to God. Okay, my friends, in closing, I have a little bit of time. Let's do a short meditation. I'll introduce sacred holding, expression resolution very briefly. just close your eye. But first of all, before you close your eyes, connect with a sorrow you have felt of because of some suffering, death of a loved one, any sadness. Invoke that sadness for purposes of healing and empowerment. So give yourself permission to connect with that feeling of sadness. It's okay, feel it. In fact, even deepen it, expand it. For me, it's always the death of my parents. As I think about it, I invoke that feeling, vibration of sadness. Okay, close your eyes. And please give yourself permission to feel that sadness. It's okay. Allowing myself to experience. And then take your time, only when you're ready. Ask yourself, where in my body am I feeling that vibration of sadness, pain, suffering? It has a location. This is called physical holding. Is it above my navel, below my navels, right side, left side, in my heart area? And once you've located it, again, take your time, just be present with it. No need to fix it or to analyze it, but a great need just to be holding it like you hold a loved one. If it moves, move with it, but just be with it. Simply being present with it. Holding it with compassion for yourself, with tenderness. And you can do this for as long as you want. Then Sufis say you can ask some questions. Do you have a message for me? And just listen, not expecting an answer, but having asked that question. Do you have a message for me? Is there something you want to tell me? I'm willing to listen. And then, in your own words, just say, I love you. You are loved. I love you. You are loved. And now, still eyes closed, For a few seconds, focus on your nostril and just be with your breath. This was the Buddha's most favorite technique of going deeper into meditation, focusing on the nostril and just being present with the breath as we inhale and as we exhale. Just a few seconds more. And now letting go of this. And this time, focus on your heart as a count from 10 to 1 through the heart. Go into what is called a sacred sanctuary, a place of total safety, astonishing beauty, a place of love, unconditional love, a place of magic. You can fly here if you want to. So at the count of 1, just find yourself in a beautiful place. But focus on the heart. And through the heart, go into this sacred sanctuary. 10, as you go through the heart, going deeper, closer to this sacred sanctuary. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Find yourself in this sacred sanctuary. It could be indoors, outdoors, but look around you. It's a place of absolute beauty. Our souls love beauty. It's a place of absolute safety. It's a place of unconditional love. It's a place of infinite possibilities. Please be there for a few moments. And then when you're ready, just find a spot there and then summon a loved one for who you're grieving. This is a magical place. And the loved one arrives, not only the loved one's soul. Greet that person however you want to. If there is a touch, embrace, feel that. The sweetness of that touch, of that embrace, if that's what you want. Only that's indicated. And now, the Sufi teachers say, knowing that souls love the truth, please, in the presence of the universe, presence of this person's soul, of your soul, articulate and say whatever your heart wants to say, holding nothing back, but say it with feeling. What is it you want to say? Express it. Say it. Articulate it, please, with feeling. Expressing whatever is in your heart with feeling. That person's soul is really listening. And you can say this as long as you want, but for right now, also now include a prayer. What is it you want for this person? What is your prayer for this person? Articulate that in words. Okay. Now let's move to the resolution part, very brief. The first step is heartfelt acknowledgement. Just look at this person and acknowledge that this person has been in your life. It's part of a larger, more mysterious story. It's an acknowledgement from the heart. You have been in my life. I acknowledge this. It's part of a larger, mysterious story. And then go through a beautiful ritual, whatever evolves. If you want to connect with this person, like with my parents, I establish a divine cord of light rooted in love, blessings from my heart to the heart of my parents, or my soul to their soul. I create a beautiful cord of light. Only if you want to. If it's a loved one. Only if you want to. In some cases, you don't want a connection. It's not been a happy situation. No need to do that. But have a ritual, if it's a loved one, a connection that connects you while you're on earth with that person or persons who are in those mysterious realms. I create a cord of beautiful light. My heart from my soul to their soul, their heart. Any ritual that evolves is beautiful. And now it's time to say goodbye. You do a goodbye ritual. If you've established a cord, a connection, you know that you're always connected. And then this person's soul asks your permission to be released. You lovingly release that person, and ever so gently see that person slowly fading from your vision, going into the embrace, tender, loving embrace of spirit, of love, of joy. Just gently see them vanishing from your vision, but going into the embrace of spirit. Just be there in your sanctuary. And for a few seconds, focus on your heart and tell your heart, I love you. You are loved. You see, your loved one is also in your heart. The Quran says Allah is outside of you and also inside of you. The Quran says Allah is closer to you than your jugular vein. God said to the Prophet Muhammad in a dream, to tell this to humanity, God said, I cannot be contained in the space of the earth. I cannot be contained in the space of the heavens, but I can be contained in the space of the pure, loving heart. God is also inside of us, inside our heart. The space of the heart is actually infinite. If the soul has gone to God and God is inside our heart, it gives me a lot of comfort to tell my heart, I love you. You are loved. Okay, I'll do a chant, and coming into awareness, open your eyes. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. One more time. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. And gently, if your eyes are closed, just open your eyes. And my friends, any questions, any comments, any insights you have, not just for me, for all of us, please feel free to express.
I believe people are able to unmute themselves now if you would like to.
Ghausia, yeah, please.
Assalamualaikum.
Oh, assalamu alaikum.
Eid Mubarak.
Thank you. Shukran.
I was a little late today, brother, to your talk because of the time difference. So please, I apologize. But
no need. No, I'm glad you're here.
I enjoyed. Let me turn on my camera, just to say hi, just to wave hi. I enjoyed what I was able to hear in this moment, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts and anyone who has to share as I'm trying to transition my career into death and dying work, but I want to have a lens of Sufism with the work that I want to do. And I'm just beginning and I'm trying to understand how I can take Sufism and then also go into death doula work or death work in general to help others make their end of life transition. And I would love to hear your viewpoints or anyone's viewpoints on this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sister Ghausia. And there are wonderful people here who are experts in hospice work and the work about death and dying. Please, any words of advice you want to give to Sister Ghausia? Yes, yeah, please, Beatrice, please go, please.
I'm struck by the universality.
Uh-huh.
The chant that you chanted is
Yeah.
very much like a lullaby.
Yes.
And I played harp at hospice. And that's actually what people found most soothing was the lullabies, regardless of where they came from.
Beautiful.
And so there's universalities and there's a softness and kindness that goes with the universalities.
That's beautiful. And I know that there are wonderful people who play the harp and do songs. I love the fact that, music. What is music? Music, again, Rumi, is a sound of the spheres. We have been part of this harmony before. And this music and singing keeps our remembering fresh, says Rumi. Mm-hmm. So thank you. Yeah. So Sister Ghausia, some recitation of the Quran, some beautiful chanting. Let's see what Sister Karma says.
Sister Ghausia, Omega Home, please start an Omega Home social model hospice. The Bardo has been opened, and of course the Bardo, Buddhist, not the seven heavens, but please Google Omega Network social hospice model homes and start a Sufi hospice. There will be so much help for you in doing. These are all nonprofits. I'm sure Roots and Roads have heard my rant about this before. It's very important that people do this work. And if you just move towards it, it will run towards you. It's time.
Thank you. Thank you, Sister Karma. And you're saying Omega Home, OMEGA Home, yes?
Omega Network is a group of people, nonprofit, people such as myself, advisors who help nationwide start nonprofits for social model hospice. And not to make this a talk about that, but very important work that you want to do in the interfaith sense, it sounds like, or strictly even from the Sufi. The Bardo one outside of Minneapolis, outside of between Minneapolis and Hudson, Wisconsin, is strictly Tibetan Buddhist and is doing really important work.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful. And Karma Lynn, please.
I just want to know what the name of the chant. I wish I could hear you sing it all the time. It was beautiful.
Oh, you know, I do have I think it's on YouTube for sure. But I tell you what, I will send it to Brother David, the chant. But this is the invocation that opens virtually all of the 114 chapters of the Quran, except for one. This goes Bismillah Rahman Rahim, meaning in the name of God, who is boundlessly compassionate, infinitely merciful. And the next line was La ilaha illallah, meaning there is no God but God, meaning it's all one. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. That's the chant. I'll send it to Brother David. He can pass it on. The two more. Anna Marie? Yeah, please.
I wanted to thank you for the practice of doing a beautiful thing. I can't remember exactly what you called it, but I lost my aunt last month and have been kind of just wanting something to do to care for myself, and I love this idea of doing a good thing, a beautiful thing.
Or some act of service in her name or his name. Yes, absolutely. Oh yeah, please do that. It'll give you not only much joy and satisfaction, I really believe it'll give much joy and satisfaction, fulfillment in the mysterious realm, and will help everybody. I really believe in that. Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, please do that in the name of, was it your aunt you said? In the name of your aunt?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah, anything that you do, and you can do it for any loved one. It really helps. I feel a connection with my parents just by doing that righteous deed as often as I can.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And you know, one practice I would always recommend to, like Sister Gausia, anybody else, that's my daily practice, telling my heart, where I believe divine heart is inside human heart, I love you, again and again and again, or you are loved, you are loved, you are loved. Telling my heart that. And also, secondly, after I do that, I focus on my heart and I just pour out light and love in an outward, expansive direction. Continuously. Meaning in my meditation, as also in my waking hours, whenever I can, just telling my heart two things, or two steps. One is telling my heart, I love you, or you are loved. See, some people say, I like the latter, you are loved, rather than I love you. So see which one works better for you. That's number one. And number two, from the heart, as often as possible, keep outpouring light and love. So if I meet a hospice patient or somebody who's adversarial, from my heart, I'm sending light and love to that person's being. And that really helps me. I feel that connection. Just through intention, pouring out that light and love. And if you do this again and again and again and again, you'll palpably feel something from you to the other person. Well, that's the end of my sermon. Anybody have a question?
I wanted to let everybody know as well, because I understand that the time changes are difficult to know exactly when it starts, because here in Arizona, we don't go on and off daylight savings time. So everybody's moving around us and it's hard to keep track. But in about a week, we'll have a recording of this session up on our website so you can view it. And if there are other folks who you feel could benefit from this, please let them know. And then usually in about a week to 10 days, we'll have that recording up.
Excellent.
Brother Jamal, thank you so much for this time together tonight.
Oh, thank you. And I mean it, to these rectangles of love. I'm very grateful for your graciousness and generosity. You know, there's a wonderful saying in Islamic spirituality, the character of a wali. Wali means friend of God. The character of a wali is based on nothing more than graciousness and generosity. I thank you for your graciousness and generosity. And look forward to seeing some of you if you're in Tucson. And if some of you come to the wonderful program which is sponsored by Techeria on April 11th.
Yep, please. If you go to techeria.org, you can register for that event. And I would highly recommend it. It'll be a wonderful time together.
Techeria?
Techeria. Yeah, well, there it is. Someone put it in Karma put it in the chat. Do you see it?
Got it.
All right. Thank you so much for doing that.
Can I ask another question? Is that okay?
Please.
Okay. Brother Jamal, are you do you accept messages, email messages,
yes, sure, absolutely.
Questions or anything? Just I'm trying to connect with people within the faith to try to understand how I can make my practice interfaith as well with the tenets of Sufism, because I was raised on that.
Yes.
So it's hard to connect with people, and I just really resonated with what you were saying. And I don't know what the best way to contact you, but I would love to send you a message.
Brother David can put my email. Please use my email.
Thank you.
Yeah, ask Brother David. He'll give you the email. And then we also have we every Friday we have prayers on Zoom.
You do?
Yes, and I can send you that information also if you kindly give through Brother David. We have prayers on Zoom every Friday at 1:30 Pacific time, and we have people there who would be just like you with your kind of wonderful vibration of thinking from the mind and heart.
Yes.
And we actually have women lead our prayers. We believe in that. So,
wow.
Yes.
Yes. If whoever can send me the information, I would very much like to be a part of that, please.
Wonderful. My email is Jamal, Jamal, then Rah, R-A-H, Jamal Rah @yahoo.com. Good. Jennifer has put it on the chat. Jamal Rah @yahoo.com.
Okay.
Yeah, please connect with me and I will connect you with the prayer group.
Okay, so Jamal Rah @yahoo.com. Okay.
Yes. Oh, in fact, Najia is here. She's part of the prayer group. Yes. Najia is in Tacoma, Washington State.
I'm in Chicago, so.
Wonderful. But we meet on Zoom all the time.
Yeah, I'm happy to join all that. Be very happy to join. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Jennifer, did you want to put up any slides so we can let folks know what's coming up too? So we hope to see you all back here with us again next month on the 16th of April. And we're going to have Anita Hanig with us. And she is a children's book writer, and she's grappling in her life right now with how to raise deaf literate children. How do we infuse our children with healthy ways of talking about grief and loss and embracing that in their lives? And so Anita will share her insights and her experience. And we hope that you all come back and join us. You just go on our website to register for that. And then in May, we're going to have a former board member of Roots and Roads with us, Rachel Sass from Northern Trust, who is going to be talking about estate planning and answering our questions as well. So please come back for that. Yes. So then in June, we're going to talk specifically around what grief support looks, especially for caregivers, that is culturally focused on the needs, the traditions, the history, the stories, the faith within certain cultural groups, so that we can create a place of trust instead of thinking that it's a one size fits all, but it's honoring the stories that people come from and are part of in order to best create those safe space to navigate our grief together. So please come back for that as well. Do you want to talk about this, Jennifer?
In the chat. Uh, so in April, we will be hosting, along with Maine and Soul, an in-person event here in Tucson. It'll be April 11th from 10 to noon. There is a $75 tax-deductible donation to participate, and spots are limited. So if you're interested or know someone who might be, you want to go ahead and register as soon as possible. And then I'll leave that up for just a minute. But then just to wrap things up, your feedback means so much to us. At the end of the meeting, you will be prompted with a survey. We hope that you will take some time to fill that out for us. And with that, we are done. Thank you so much. Oh, sorry. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We hope you all have a good night.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Blessings to all. Thank you so
Shalom.
much.
Salam, peace, namaste. Bye-bye.